What is the name of Liam's mother?
Liam's mother?
Yeah.
Her name was... Now, that would be the same name as Noel's mother, so... Sorry, I'm thinking aloud. Just thinking aloud.
Good morning, I'm Mike Graham, he's Mike Parry. You're listening to Two Mikes on the warm-up right here on TalkSport. Chelsea might have picked up their 5th Premier League championship last night, but there's still an awful lot of business to be done, and we'll bring you all the goals as they go in ahead of our live commentary game, Middlesbrough against Southampton. We'll be talking to Italian superstar Alessandro Del Piero as well about whether Antonio Conte might return to Italy before he's achieved anything else at Chelsea. Plus, we'll be finding out why Porky's picking on Millwall fans again, not content with telling them all to move out of the country to Kent. He's now accusing them of holding Eurovision parties tonight. He says for some reason Millwall fans love the Eurovision Song Contest. I don't know why. 08717 22 3344. You're listening to the Two Mikes with me, Mike Graham, and Mike Parry on TalkSport. This is TalkSport. We are the Two Mikes. We're here for an extra bonus hour again. 3 hours today instead of 2. It's time to say it's very, very good morning to Mr. Mike, a Porky, I hate Millwall fans, Parry. Very good morning to you, Mr. Parry.
A very good morning to you, Mike, and please do not start pitting me against one particular element of society, that is the Millwall fans.
I don't know what you got in for.
Right, I haven't got anything in from there. I came across a guy who, he's not really a mate, he's an associate. Works in the same sort of business, and he told me only this morning that loads of Millwall fans love Eurovision Song Contest Day. They all have parties, and I thought that's unusual. I did a bit of research, and I found out that Millwall fans, generally speaking, are very patriotic. A lot of them come from the East End of London,
they
which
like
is traditionally...
They put a lot of England flags out whenever there's an international tournament.
And they're big royalist supporters and all that kind of stuff, so they tend to support their country in all areas of culture and sport.
Right.
And they regard the Eurovision Song Contest as another opportunity, this is going right back, for England, the United Kingdom, Great Britain, call it what you will.
Is our entry in the Eurovision Song Contest Great Britain?
Yeah.
So it's not England?
No, it's Grand Bretagne.
Right,
in
so
fact,
they may not be quite as patriotic about that as they would be about England.
Well, no, they are, and I think you'll find that when you get to the judging tonight, isn't it tradition always listed as Kingdom United?
Well, you tell me. I don't watch it.
I think it is. Yeah, well,
you're the only person I know that watches the Eurovision Song Contest. No. I don't know anyone else that watches it because it is past its best, it is past its prime, it's of no interest to anybody with half a brain, and unless you've got some kind of bizarre love for people dressing up in weird outfits, why on earth would you watch it?
I haven't watched it for 20 years. I'm only telling you what I've been told.
Really?
I did some research, and in fact, they like a good old knees up down the East End, knees up, Maverick Brown,
it's
and
not
all
like
that.
you're using any stereotypes here at all.
No.
I mean, it was only a few months ago when you assured them all that it was time to move away from South London and move out into the Kent countryside because the new den was about to be recommissioned by the local council and sold off for flats.
All I said was just think of the opportunities of moving to a greenfield site and expanding into an area. You've got to understand about people's aspirations in life, and aspirations are sometimes things people don't like to talk about. I think I tapped on a hidden resource.
What
but
are
anyway,
your aspirations in
what
life,
we should be talking about.
What are your aspirations in life?
My aspirations.
Yeah.
My aspirations...
Yes, you're always constantly looking to better yourself, aren't you?
My aspirations in life are to be a useful member of society at all times.
How's that going?
It's going very well, thank you. Now, we should, of course, be congratulating Chelsea. It's the first time we've come to air since they won it.
Absolutely. Well done, Chelsea.
Yeah, congratulations, Chelsea. 5 Premier League titles, 12 different managers in 14 years, including those who've been temporary managers, stand-ins or whatever. I mean, they've got some sort of formula there, which is just so ruthless. Oh, if you're not winning, you're out. And it works.
Well, they've also got quite a lot of money.
Well, of course they've got a lot of money, but they use it wisely.
Yeah, but the point is it's all very well to fight. I mean, when Jose Mourinho went the first time, I think he walked away with about 19 million quid. Now, there's not an awful lot of clubs in Britain that can afford to pay off managers 19 million quid every couple of years.
That is absolutely true. But if you go back many years, even decades, Manchester United were in the doldrums for 20 years nearly before Sir Alex Ferguson arrived.
Yeah, but that was before the Premier League.
It was. But what I'm saying is they were by far the richest club in this country. On the basis of the crowds that they attracted to Old Trafford, on the basis of, even in those days, the commercial interests that they could engender. They were richer by comparison to the other clubs in those days than Chelsea are these days to their opponents.
I suppose so. Also, they were very successful later on, or have been successful in Europe.
Oh, yeah.
And also, they've always had a great sort of merchandising arm, haven't they, Manchester United?
They have, but the point I'm making is that you can have all the money in the world, and Manchester City may be proof of this pudding. Yeah. If it's not spent properly, it is of no use to you.
Yeah, but since Manchester City have had all the money in the world, they've done all right, haven't they? They've won the Premier League a couple of times.
Of course they have. But what I'm saying is that the big belief was that Pep Guardiola was the greatest coach in the world, greatest football coach in the world, man most hunted. He may well be. Yeah. But all I'm saying is, in the first season in which Pep has been there, probably the highest paid coach in the world as well. Yeah. So that's a money issue. That's what drew him there, amongst other attractions. Yeah. You know, the future for the club and the investment and all that. Yeah. But it hasn't been an instant hit. Chelsea are very good at getting instant hits. Ancelotti comes first season, the double. Mr. Conte comes first season, the Premier League title. Jose came the first season, Premier League title. Yep. Tremendous track record of success.
Well, what is also very clear is that Roman Abramovich knows how to pick a decent manager. Yes. I don't think he's ever had a bad manager at Chelsea.
He has.
Who? Andre Villas-Boas. Yes, but he was sold at...
I have a sister
who still, by the way, still walked off with about 20 million quid.
No, he got about 12.
Yeah, well, that's not bad, is it? And he's now in China making about 10 million a year. Well, you might think he's a bit of an idiot, but he's not such an idiot that he's actually an awful lot more wealthy than you are.
Where's my clipboard?
Anyway, listen, you're just using all this as a smokescreen to try and get away from the fact that you've once again insulted Millwall fans.
I have not insulted Millwall
What you've done is encourage this kind of thing. Yeah. Pete says this. Exactly which journal was used to find out whether Millwall fans love Eurovision? Was it Plank Weekly, perhaps?
Plank Weekly.
And Mange says this. Millwall fans having Eurovision parties. I'm having one tonight. Yeah. It's my birthday. A shout-out would make my day.
Well, there you go.
But he's not a Millwall fan. He didn't say he's a Millwall fan.
Yeah, I thought he did.
No, he just said, on the subject of Millwall fans having Eurovision parties, I'm having one tonight.
Right, okay.
That does not mean he's saying he's a Millwall fan. Okay. And here's that one from Adam in Ando. It's the kind of thing that you're encouraging. Millwall fans like the Eurovision Song Contest because it's just as naff as they are.
Oh, well, you see, that's disgraceful.
No, but that's the kind of thing you're encouraging.
Outrageous. I'm not encouraging anybody to give him a hard time. I tell you what.
I bet you any money that we will not hear from one Millwall fan who's having a Eurovision party. It is not happening.
Yeah, well, I think you will. The thing is that what you've done now is you've shamed the Millwall fans by saying anybody who supports Eurovision is a naff individual and a bit of a plank. And so they will now be reluctant to ring up and tell us about their joyous celebrations that they've got planned for this evening.
Yeah, here's one from
David. Because you always
David.
Put your foot in it, don't you?
No, I haven't put my foot in it at all. You're the one who's constantly putting both feet in it because here's David to sum you up. Porky, as all good members of the gutter press, lives his life in stereotypes. Hashtag plank. Like knees up Mother Brown. That's what they all do. And BMW says this. Past its best, past its prime, nobody's interested. Is that Eurovision or Mike Parry you're describing?
That's a bit harsh, isn't it? See what I mean? You know, why do you stir up this hatred against me? I think it's because you want to deflect the alley cat lifestyle which you lead, which of course we'll get onto sometime during the show today.
My alley cat lifestyle.
Yes.
Yeah. Do you know what I did yesterday? I spent most of the time of the day yesterday looking after my son, who's been very ill.
Oh, I'm sorry about that. Is he getting better?
So why don't you just take the mickey out of my alley cat lifestyle?
No.
Why don't you just make fun of me while he listens, right? Knowing full well that I spent most of the day yesterday shipping him backwards and forwards to the doctor.
Did you?
And also, cuddling him in bed while he's suffering from some kind of terrible illness which he can't shake off.
Oh, okay.
And he's been off school for a week and a bit.
I'm going to nominate you for Dad of the Year. I'll get you a medal,
you have no compassion
at all. What do you want, a medal?
I don't want a medal. I just don't want you to stop describing me as somebody who has the lifestyle of an alley cat.
You're a father.
Because I've been looking after my sick son, my child, who you have absolutely no compassion for because you haven't got any kids of your own, and you have no idea what that's like.
I have great compassion for sick children.
Really?
But I mean, to moan that, my day was ruined. I'm not moaning. Because you have to spend
I didn't say, when did I say my day was ruined?
Well, I mean,
when did I say it was ruined? Don't put words in my mouth. You're doing it again. More lies from Porky, the liar.
You have twice now moaned and bellyached.
Not at all. I'm just telling you what I did. You spend all day in the pub.
That's one of the things that parents do.
You spend all day in the pub projecting on Twitter that I'm drinking all the time, when in fact it's you that spends his entire life drinking because you've got nothing else to do.
Right, could you just answer this question, please? Who is the only one of the two Mikes who put out pictures this week of daytime drinking sessions before our late show?
That would be me, because I tell the truth about what I do.
So not me, because I wasn't.
If you put out a picture of every time you had a drink, your Twitter would explode. Because you're always drinking. It's all you do.
Well, like when?
Well, have you had a drink today?
No.
You sure?
What?
Are you sure?
Of course I'm sure.
Okay, just checking.
Yeah.
This is Talk Sport. We are the Two Mics. You can tweet us, of course, at the Two Mics, at Talk Sport, and you can send us a text to 81089. You can look out for our Facebook page as well, the Two Mics. A couple of tweets have come in on the Millwall front. Robin says, I'm 45 years a Millwall fan. I hate the Eurovision Song Contest. Really? I've just asked 10 other fans. 4 have replied laughing.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh well. I mean, I'm sorry, but you're not the right sort of Millwall fan, to be honest.
Really?
Because there is a group of you out there very patriotic and apparently wanted the Eurovision Song Contest to be England's competition. And it was, in the early days, old Cliff Richard winning it, Lulu.
You're talking about stuff 50 years ago,
Brotherhood of Man and all that. Yeah, I am, because I was a kid and my parents used to make me sit down and watch it on a Saturday night when some woman called Katie somebody, who was,
Katie somebody?
Yeah, very well spoken.
Who used to actually host it?
She used to host it, yeah.
Before Terry Wogan did
That's right, yeah, and she used to speak in French and all that kind of stuff, Really? Bonjour, Paris.
Really?
Yeah.
That's what you think French is, isn't it? Bonjour, Paris, that's it.
Comment allez-vous? Monsieur et madame.
I'm feeling all right.
The numbers for...
It's not that show that used to be on, the French... What's it called? Hello, hello.
No.
How about this from Dazzo, who says, Parry's information about Eurovision is from an associate in the same line of business. Is he another slum landlord, then?
No. I don't know any slum landlords, not being a slum landlord myself. Now, listen, I came across some information today, right?
Yes, all right.
Now, are we planning the Derby this year?
What Derby?
Go to the Derby.
Go to the Derby?
The horse race,
Why are you asking me?
Well, because there's been a big row. Because,
We've
of
never
course...
been to the Derby together, have we?
No, we haven't. So I think it's about time we broke that taboo, so to speak.
It's on a Saturday now.
It's on a Saturday. And
last time I went to it was on a Wednesday.
I used to do that when I was at the Express. We used to take Wednesday off and get down to the Derby.
And you used to get carried out of the Duracell tent, didn't you?
Yeah, terrible things used to happen. Got arrested in an Indian restaurant by the Royal Diplomatic Squad.
I remember that,
Until I told them who I was.
Yeah.
And then they told me to go home. Which was rather...
This is because you were having a row with somebody at the table, weren't you?
It was Charlie Sale.
Charlie Sale,
He tried to verbally attack me and then physically attack me, and I responded. And just in case Charlie's listening and thinks I'm besmirching his name, there were 10 witnesses.
Yes.
It was all my fault,
Mind
Charlie.
you, being attacked by Charlie Sale is a bit like being savaged by a dead sheep, isn't
it?
I mean, he's not very much
I
of a
wouldn't
punching bag, is he?
I wouldn't say that. It was one of those late issues in an Indian restaurant after a day at the Derby. Charlie was very well behaved.
All right.
But anyway, listen, the reason I'm telling you is that I live on the edge, of course, of Epsom Downs, and there's a great deal of snobbery around, and a really big part of the course, which is called the Hill, where you can go in for free, and watch all the racing, is to be sponsored by Poundland.
Poundland?
Yeah, and the Epsom Derby, epitome of flat racing, highlight of the social calendar, attended every year by the Queen. Winner is worth millions. The crowd includes all these people in top hat and tails and finery, enjoying champagne. So, a considerable shock yesterday when it was announced that the famous hill, the vantage point in the middle of the Epsom course, which offers a free view to the race to thousands, is now to be sponsored by Poundland.
Well, I suppose Poundland have been one of the more successful trademarks over the last few years.
Yeah.
So it's not surprising they want to now start getting into sports sponsorship.
I think it's terrible snobbery. Poundland are described as the budget-conscious high street retail chain.
Yes.
However, why don't they put in front of that the highly successful?
Yeah.
Because we like winners at Epsom.
Well,
and if Poundland are going, good for them.
I don't mind admitting that I go to Poundland from time to time and buy the odd thing.
Yes.
The kids love shopping in there, actually, because they can take their pocket money and buy loads of stuff.
Well, do you know what I like? I like going in with my wire basket and buy something like 30 soap dispensers, you know what I mean?
Why do you want 30?
Because I know that they only cost 30 quid,
right.
You see what I mean?
Well, 30 quid on soap's quite a lot of money.
Yeah, but I store them in the, under the sink.
Why?
So I've always got one, you know what I mean? Because they run out.
Well, how soon do you run out of one?
I run out of them very quickly.
Well, how much soap do you use in a day?
Well, I've got 2 bathrooms. Yeah. I've got one when I come in where I put my shoes and clothes and all that, and there's a sink in there, right?
Put your clothes in the bathroom?
No, well, on the outside of the bathroom, on the coat hook outside, you see what I mean?
Right, okay.
And then I do
you only put your jacket there, surely?
I only put my jacket there, but I put my shoes in the bathroom because it's got tiled floor.
Has it?
And that's where I always wash your hands when I go in, so that goes down pretty quick.
Okay.
From there, I go across the corridor.
When you say pretty quick, hang on.
Yeah.
When you say pretty quick, I mean, if you put a new one in today, for example, when would it run out?
2 weeks.
2 weeks?
Yes.
That's quite quick.
Yes, that's right, yeah. So then I go across the hallway, into my other bathroom, which is my shower room, actually, where I deal with, sort of more...
ablutions.
No, necessarily ablutions, no, because there's ablutionary facilities in the first bathroom, but I like to quaff my hair if I've been out and it's wet and all that kind of stuff.
I wouldn't bother if I were you.
That's me, I wouldn't bother. And basically tart myself up,
Tart yourself up?
Yeah.
You didn't do that today, did you?
Well, what do you mean? I haven't been in yet. I've just come out, haven't I?
Well, surely you tart yourself up before you go out.
I do that. Yeah, I go out the shower and tidy myself up and quaff my hair and all that kind of stuff. Of course I do, yes. But what I'm saying is, by the time you get home after a long day, you have to do, you wash your face and put your hair up and all that kind of stuff.
It's been a long day. You don't have a long day. You work 3 hours a day.
Anyway, can we get back to Poundland, please? So
let's
anyway,
get back to Poundland.
What I think is, and then what I do is, I've got soap in there. Yeah. I've got soap in the kitchen.
Right.
So 3 loads of soap on the go at all times. Okay. Only lasts 2 weeks, you see.
Yeah. Okay, so that means every 2 weeks you're replacing 3.
Yes, that's right.
So in a month you're doing 6.
Yes, that's right.
That's an awful lot of soap.
Well, you're going to get through it. Now, what it says...
suffer from ADHD, do you?
No, of course not. No. I also buy the same number of shower gels at the same time.
What about obsessive-compulsive disorder?
No. I just like to be prepared. Right. Now, it says... Now, you see, this is where I think the snobbery comes in. The Racing Post, which, of course, we've got a copy of just in the studio somewhere around here.
Yeah.
And I suppose you could call that the Racing Bible.
It is.
It says, the decision, crass and condescending, and an exercise that would only accentuate a them and us image of the event.
Why?
I don't know. Others on social media wondered whether it was a late April fool.
Really?
I find that remarkable.
Well, I mean, at what point do you draw a line between, sponsors which are acceptable and sponsors which are not acceptable?
Yeah, well...
in terms of, whether they're snobby enough.
Listen, they meet a demand for millions of people, Poundland.
Right.
And I tell you something... The Derby, for all its finery and all its wealthy people in all their boxes and all that, wouldn't be anything without the crowds on the hill who bring the atmosphere to. Have you ever heard the roar as the horses come down the straight in the Derby?
They go
up to the curve.
Yes.
I forgot what it's called now. Up to... I've been there so many times. And then they come down again.
Corner, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, yeah. It's Tattenham Corner. Up to Tattenham Corner. Yeah. And they come round, they come belting down.
Yeah.
And once that roar comes in, which is, largely the working class people who are at the Epsom Derby for a day out, it's fantastic.
Well, it's not just the working class people. Why do you have to make them class ridden anyway?
No.
You've got loads of people who go to the Derby.
No.
Some of them may be working class.
Yes.
Many of them are middle class.
Yes.
Some of them may be upper class.
Anyway,
why don't you just call them people that go to the Derby?
Anyway, I think it's a great thing that new companies, emerging companies, are able to become so successful and profitable they can stamp their imprimatur on British life.
Imprimatur.
Yeah, that's right. So the multi-million-pound 10-year deal, 10 years they're going to be there.
Right.
I mean, some businesses don't even last 10 years.
So is this a done deal then? You say
it's done deal.
It's happened.
The multi-million-pound 10-year deal with the chain synonymous with bargain basement shopping will be activated at this year's Derby on June the 3rd.
Yeah.
Poundland's parent company, highly successful South African-based Steinhoff Group. Steinhoff. Sounds like a nice vodka there.
Maybe they should sponsor it, and then all of this fuss would be put to one side.
Yeah, but Steinhoff would... publicising that name would not have the same impact on people as publicising Poundland.
No.
On board as part of a Luke's extended contract.
The obvious joke to make is that they bought it for £1, isn't it?
Yeah, well, it could be, but I think they've paid an awful lot more than that. Apparently, this is also in a deal with Investec, who are the global financial services and asset management group, who I think actually sponsor the race itself, don't they?
They already sponsor the Derby. It's called the Investec Derby.
You're absolutely right. Investec has sponsored the Derby for the past 8 years and will continue to do so until 2026.
Very good.
So there you go. Now,
I think it's very exciting. I'm glad to see, as you say, new companies coming into sports sponsorship, because otherwise you just get stuck with the same old names.
I totally agree.
Yeah.
Now, if anybody out there wants to invite me to the Derby, by the way, because of course I'm very close by.
It's not an advert for you just to enjoy yourself.
No. I'm happy to help people out. You know, the meeting and greeting and all that kind of stuff.
Well,
you know what I mean?
You could be the
Poundland. You could come with me if you like.
You could be the Poundland mascot, couldn't you? Because you're in there so much. 68 bottles of soap later.
That's very harsh.
Now, Mr. Parry, if I said to you we were about to talk to one of the great legends of Italian football, which name do you think you would conjure up first?
Well, I'd say that the best you can get in my lifetime would be somebody like Alessandro Del Piero.
Well, guess what?
Yes.
We've got Alessandro Del Piero right here to talk to about a fantastic new football tournament called the Star Sixes. Alessandro, a very good morning to you. Welcome.
Yes, good morning. How are you?
Very well
Very
indeed.
well indeed,
We should
thank
say
you.
buongiorno, I suppose, as well. Thank you very much indeed for
Buongiorno, yes,
joining us.
Exactly.
Now,
and
tell
thank
us...
you for an amazing introduction.
Yes,
well, great to have you.
Thank you for coming on. Tell us about Star Sixes, a six-a-side football tournament. Gets underway, I think, in July in the O2. What's it all about?
Yeah, we are today to present here from Rome, from Piazza di Spagna. We are ready to prepare this tournament. It's very exciting for us, and as a national team, play against the other ones. It will be very competitive at the end. We will laugh a lot before the game, but then when you go inside the pitch, you want to win. That's what will happen for sure.
And it's lots of ex-international players like yourself. We've got Steven Gerrard, Rio Ferdinand, Michael Owen, David James, Emile Heskey playing for England, but you've got lots of other countries playing as well, right?
Yeah, exactly. We try to put together the best team as possible because these guys, are very tough. They will play at home and they want to show his best. But we have a tough group stage because we play against Brazil, China, and Nigeria. That's why 4 different countries, very different countries in terms of football and potential. That will be very interesting, by the way. Yeah.
No, I think it'll be great fun. I look at the Germany team there, Alessandro, Michael Ballack, Jens Lehmann, Marco Reich. I mean, what we're going to see, it's a bit like the seniors golf tour, isn't it? You're seeing these guys who are just retired, just past their best, but people will flock to see them because they are legendary names, and we never really had great opportunities to see those sort of international stars during their careers. So I wish you the very, very best for that tournament, and I hope it goes well. I suppose at the moment you've got your eyes on your old club Juventus, have you not?
Actually, yes, my friend, because I'm in Rome, excited to see what's going on this weekend because you have a great opportunity to close the league tomorrow, and I think they will make it. And then on Wednesday they will play here the Italian Cup final. So it's a 4 very important and tough day for them. Yeah. And I believe they have a great chance this year to make. What we say triplete, all the 3 tournaments, the league and the Italian league and the Champions League.
Well, of course,
they have a great opportunity.
That's right, the Champions League coming up. But I mean, can any team, including Juventus, who've been terrific this season, overcome a Real Madrid team that's got Ronaldo in it, the man who scores hat-tricks for fun?
True. But something. When something happens, magic happens till the end. And let's see what's going on. Ronaldo and Real Madrid already won last year, and they still the top of the world as a team, as a club. By the way, they have a great opportunity to make a double, and it's how tough it is because nobody did it before. It's a long time that didn't happen, but you have all the quality to beat them because. They are playing amazing as a team. They have a great defense structure, and they can score in every moment. And they are very confident this moment. Yeah. That's why they will approach a game, the final in a different way. If you compare about 2 years ago against Barcelona, they are confident to win this time.
Sure, absolutely. And what about the league here, of course, Alessandro, because your compadre, Antonio Conte, won the Premier League yesterday with Chelsea. He's the 4th Italian manager to win it. What a fantastic thing to have done in his first season.
Yes, it's amazing. I think he did an amazing work. Let's say perfect condition because it's the same condition that he has when he came to Juventus, when he finished 7th on the table, and then we won the title. And this is what happened again, some kind of history repeating in a different country, but he's a great guy, amazing coach, and I'm happy that straight away the first year he can show his best and keep Chelsea on the top of the league, and probably next year on top on the Champions League again.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people seem to think he might want to return to Italy.
To Inter Milan.
Yeah, there's a lot of rumors, honestly. Yes, a lot of rumors regarding Inter Milan. And I don't know, honestly. Yeah. He just arrived in England. I think he has all the possibility to build an incredible story there, and I don't know what's going on first of all, in his heart, and how is the perspective of the teams. Let's see. By the way, it's not a bad choice. For him to be this summer.
Oh, no, absolutely. It'll be very exciting to see what he can do in Europe in the Champions League with Chelsea next season. Well, Alessandro, listen, I thank you very much for joining us. Are you going to be over here in July for the Sixes tournament?
Yes, and I hope to see you guys.
Yeah.
And, I'll be there.
Yes, it's at the O2 in London, which is, one of our top sort of venues.
It is a very good venue, yes. And maybe, Alessandro, you could pop into Talk Sport while you're here and we can see you.
Yes.
Yes, why not?
Yes, indeed. We'd be love to see you. But anyway, thank you very much indeed, Alessandro. For our millions of listeners, it's Thursday, July the 13th, Mike, till Sunday, July the 16th.
It is.
That is the competition. It's at the O2, and the tickets are on sale now at www.star6s.com.
And Scotland have even got a team as well.
They have.
Now it's time
and China.
I'm going slightly mad. I'm going slightly mad. It finally happened.
This is Talk Sport. We are the two mics. We've got loads more coming up. We're going to find out what's coming up in the Sunday Times very shortly in the next hour. And we'll be talking to Kevin O'Sullivan, maestro of the television set, who's going to be telling us about the Eurovision Song Contest.
Exactly.
And I'm still getting plenty of tweets on that, by the way. One from Russ, who says, Porky obviously isn't aware that one of the most popular viewing areas of Eurovision in the UK is Liverpool and its surrounding environs.
Why is that?
I don't know, but he seems to think that Liverpudlians are very keen on
the hinterland of Merseyside, the North West and all that. They've never had a Eurovision winner, have they?
Well, up in Liverpool?
Yeah.
I don't know, really.
No, they haven't. I'm just thinking of the...
Quite a few people have been tweeting in to say Katie Boyle is the name of the woman that
Boyle,
you're thinking of,
that was the one, absolutely,
Gabrielle says this, I've met many Millwall fans and they've never discussed the merits of ABBA or the Brotherhood of Man.
Really? Yeah, well, you've not been talking to the right people. Yeah. A few people here getting a bit, a bit cruel here. Porky puts his hair up, does he? Does he use rollers? Old Porky looks after his hair when he gets in. What, all three strands of it? That came from Baz and one or two other miscreants. Okay?
Yes, I've got quite a few decent bits of tweets coming in, which we shall read out to you very, very shortly. Here's one from Biggish, who says, Porky needs a Crystal Palace win to complete his treble. # disaster for Palace. # Porky jinx.
Not at all. Not at all. I mean, you see, the thing is all very well being outrageous and getting a 59-1 sort of bet on, right? But,
if that comes clean, I mean, that would be an excellent, one of the best trebles of the year.
Yeah, but I go safe. So I've already got Everton in the bag. I've already got Chelsea in the bag.
Oh, yeah.
I only need Palace now, and then, I'm home
But
dry.
that's what people are worried about.
So, no,
How about this one from Ken? He says, can the two mics mention there's a cup final at Wembley today? Well, of course, we are going to be covering that a little bit later on.
Yes.
Because it is Fulham, isn't it?
Of course
Against
it is.
Reading.
Eh?
In the Championship.
No, I don't think so.
Isn't it?
No.
I thought it was.
No. Tranmere are playing tomorrow, aren't they?
Tranmere are playing.
Tranmere, with my old friend, Mr. Mark Palios, who's now in charge of Tranmere.
But I thought Fulham Reading was today. Why are you denying that?
Well, that's a semi-final.
Well, it's a final. It's still at Wembley, though, isn't it?
Well, yes, but I mean, you said a final, didn't you? That's all I'm thinking.
I'm reading a tweet from somebody who says, can the two mics mention there's a cup final at Wembley today?
Yeah, OK. Well, there's a cup final at Wembley, but I don't think it involves Fulham and Reading. That's all I'm saying.
Who does it involve?
Well, you tell me, because you've announced that there's a cup final there.
I've just read you a text from somebody called Ken.
Right, OK.
Ken.
Yeah, OK. Well, when you read out the texts from Ken, we have to back that up with the precise information, OK?
All right.
Which we are acquiring right now.
Here's one from Nick, who says, Porky's treble has drifted to 10-1 from 7-2 due to massive public opposition.
Oh, yeah? Well, public opposition to what? What are we talking about here?
To the Porky. Are you feeling all right? You don't seem to know what's going on.
Of course I know.
For heaven's sake.
Goodness sake, man, look, I'm really sorry the little lad's not been well, but I mean, I think it has flustered you a bit, because you don't seem to be able to get anything in the right order.
You think I'm flustered?
Yes.
You just described how you got yourself tarted up to come out, but then you didn't do it this morning because you weren't sure whether you were going or coming.
No, I didn't. No, I said you only come out this morning. When I get home this afternoon, obviously I will go through the ritual of transforming myself from outdoor man to indoor man.
Transforming yourself into something sensible would be helpful, actually.
No, not really.
We're going to be talking to Eleanor Mills coming up. We will be talking to Kevin O'Sullivan as well. Keep your tweets coming in at the two mics, and maybe somebody else can tell us whether there is, in fact, a cup final going on at Wembley today.
You gotta speed it up, and then you gotta slow it down. Because if you believe that a love can hit the top, you gotta play around. But soon you will find that there comes a time making your mind up. You gotta turn it on.
I suppose you remember this one, do you?
I remember it very well.
Do you know what year that was?
Let me see. That would be about 77 or something.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just asking if you remember
77,
it.
something like that.
That's the one they pulled their skirts off,
Yeah,
right?
exactly. That was the famous one where they spun round and the girls who looked beautifully attractive in these skirts, the skirts had a Velcro attachment, and they'd put them off, and then they continued the rest of the routine in a sort of that sort of thing you would wear if you were in a gym. What's it
leotard.
called? Leotard type thing. That's right. Yeah, but it was great.
Type thing. Yeah,
and it won them fame and fortune. It all went a bit wrong for that group a bit later on, didn't it?
Bucks Fizz, yeah.
Well,
they weren't very good. That's why.
Well, no, I thought they were great, but
they were not great.
What happened was
they had one song.
They
had one song.
No, they didn't. They had a few more. But what happened was...
Can you name another one of those songs? No.
Making Your Mind Up. That was the one you're... And the other one was...
we're listening to.
Yeah, something like Smile for a While. No, hang on. It's only make believe. Yeah, only make believe.
Only make believe.
But what it went wrong for them, which is very tragic, is I think they were doing a show in Newcastle, and somebody moved the bus at the wrong time. Sorry, I shouldn't be laughing.
Moved the bus?
Yeah.
What bus?
Well, they were on a tour bus.
The tour bus.
And the guy was standing at the front. One of the singers, because there's two male singers, two girl singers.
What, inside the bus?
Inside the bus. Nobody told him. He went head first through the windscreen, unfortunately.
It's not something to laugh about.
Of course it's not. No, and I'm not laughing
shocking
at
that
all.
You're laughing about that.
No, I'm not. I'm not laughing, honestly.
Listen, you're going to get enough stick in a moment. I'm going to start reading some of these tweets about the fact that you did not know that it is the Women's FA Cup final today.
Of course I knew. It's Manchester City versus Birmingham.
Who?
Birmingham versus Manchester City.
Ladies, yes.
Yeah, it's ladies SSC Women's FA Cup final.
Yeah.
And it's at Wembley Stadium at 5:15. Okay?
Well, why didn't you know that?
I knew all about it, man. I knew all about it. But, my head's like a computer.
Saying man?
Downloading it is sometimes...
Your head is not like a computer
sometimes,
at all. Your head is like a broken sat-nav.
A little difficult, Right.
Yeah, Chris says this. What is Parry on this morning? Confused, making no sense and talking absolute rubbish.
That's very harsh, isn't it? Eh?
A lot of people suggesting that you talking to Alessandro Del Piero is perhaps one of the great ironies of life.
Why?
Because they're calling you El Planco and him the legend, Del Piero.
I don't respond to things like that. We can all have a laugh at times, but sometimes you cross a line.
Bill says, I bet Porky hasn't watched Eurovision since Johnny Logan won it. I don't even know who that is.
Is he an Irishman? Sounds like an Irishman.
Logan is.
Yeah. I tell you who I do remember winning it was All Kinds of Everything Remind Me of You.
That was Dana, wasn't it?
That was Dana. She turned up as a schoolgirl, aged about 18, in a green dress.
Didn't she end up becoming president of Ireland?
Yes, exactly. I was about to say.
Yeah.
She then sings his song. She went, next time you see her, she's had the makeover, and she's like, looking a bit more like Sheena Easton.
Yeah. Yes, I suppose so.
That's right. And then, as you quite rightly say, she had about 2 more hits, and she disappeared for about 35 years, and then re-emerged as the president of Ireland. Yeah, remarkable lady.
Absolutely right.
Yeah.
Here's one from Andy. He says, every time I hear that start of that Talk advert, I imagine Porky sat at home drawing up tenancy agreements and contracts for his slums. I don't know what one he's talking about.
I don't know. I don't own any slums anyway. Listen, I saw a very funny tweet somebody sent me. Thank you very much indeed, because, of course, you have plagued me for years now with this mantra of table for one, table for one.
Well, it's because you always have a table for one.
Yeah, well, millions of people have a table for one.
Well, I don't work with millions of people. I work with you.
Yeah, okay. But anyway, somebody sent me a tweet. I'm not sure I can find it yet, but some chain store, right? You know, every now and then you go into, a store and you buy a new collection of plates and cups and things. What's it called? A dinner service.
Service.
Isn't it called a dinner service?
Well, you can call it that, I
Yeah,
suppose.
exactly. So you normally get 4 plates and 4 cups and 4 bowls and all that.
How often did you do that?
Oh, I do it quite regularly.
Why?
Well, because I like to change the colour of my stuff. But anyway, somebody sent me a picture of, and I can't remember which store it was, but they are now actually selling dinner services, table for one.
Table for one?
Yeah, absolutely.
That'd be ideal. I could get you one for Christmas.
Yeah, well, I don't need one, thanks. I've got plenty of that sort of stuff.
Didn't you once tell me that you've got loads of boxes of crockery at home? Because you buy loads and loads of spare stuff.
Yeah, I've got a few.
I mean, when you die, right, not that I'm wishing anything like that upon you.
No.
People will find all sorts of rubbish at your house, won't they? You're like in Aladdin's cave.
Well, I don't think it's rubbish, to be honest. I mean,
they'll find about 60 bottles of soap for a start.
No.
Won't they?
Well, yeah, they will, yeah, but I mean, soap's useful.
You've got spare kettles in the cupboard, right?
Yeah.
Boxes of irons and things like that.
Yes, I have actually.
Yeah.
I normally have a spare kettle in each property.
Yeah.
In case the current one blows.
Yeah.
And I also have a spare iron because the iron can always go. And all that kind of stuff. But I mean, that's just me.
Well, I mean, if an iron goes,
yes.
as you put it,
yes.
it's not going to be the end of the world. You just go out and buy another one. You don't just spare one.
Yeah, but if it happens in mid-ironing, when my housekeeper is, busily ironing, then I just say, well, she knows where the new one is anyway.
Uh-huh.
We've thrown a couple away over the years.
Have you?
Know. Yeah, I got a one once, right? I got one of these irons
Yeah.
where it actually sits on this huge cradle.
Yeah.
You know the sort of thing I mean?
No.
Right, well, there's this huge cradle, and the iron's on top of it.
A huge. Well, how huge?
About the size of like a big sort of roasting dish.
Really?
I suppose.
All
Or
right.
bigger actually.
Right.
About the size, I would say, of about the size of a child's seat. Okay, you know a child's seat
Yeah,
in the back of a car.
Yes.
That's right. Yeah,
Right.
It's about the size of that.
Well, it's not really huge, then, is it?
Well, it's pretty
Right.
big because you put it on the end of the ironing board,
Right.
And then it sits on there, and then it generates all its own steam into the iron and all that kind of stuff. But
Right.
the whole idea is that you're not subject to the lead from the iron going to a plug in the wall.
Oh, I see.
It's self-contained.
So it's like an old-fashioned, a proper old-fashioned iron, which is not electric.
No, it's electric, all right.
Well, where does it plug into?
It's plugged into the wall, but the unit is plugged into the wall, not the iron itself.
Oh,
you see
I
what I
see.
mean? Which you have to keep,
I see.
judging.
So it's more like a kettle, then?
Yeah, it's a bit like that. Yeah, that's right, yeah. Because, yes, you're absolutely right, because it doesn't have a lead.
Well, that would have been
onto
an easier way to describe it.
It doesn't have a lead onto the unit that I'm talking
Yeah.
about. Okay, take it off. But she hated it so much, and it cost about, 250 quid or something.
Really?
That she didn't want to use it anymore. So she gave it away to her daughter or something.
Really?
Or she gave it away to somebody anyway, And,
I'm sure she's not just selling your stuff out from underneath the house.
I'm not
Yeah,
sure.
I'm giving it away. I can't use that anymore. I have to go back to buy some more soap.
I don't know.
How about this from Minor? He says, now Mike Parry's eased back on literally. He seems to have started to say man constantly. Please tell him it isn't the late 60s.
Yeah, well, no, it's not the late 60s. It was catching up. Now, listen, one thing we don't seem to have touched upon so far, we should, is Everton's great victory last night, OK? What about that?
Well, when you say great victory...
Well, it's 3 points, and that brought us to 43 points at Goodison this season.
Still in 7th.
Yes, still in
As
7th.
I keep saying to you, no matter what Everton do, they just seem to be in 7th forever this season.
Seen the gap now between us and West? Because, of course, West Brom lost to Chelsea.
Yeah.
So,
and also, as you pointed out, they've had a pretty miserable back end of the season.
Very miserable.
They haven't got many points at all.
And Chelsea behind us. We then take 3 points off Watford, OK?
Yeah.
And the gap now between 7th and 8th is 16 points.
Right.
I mean, that's amazing.
It is amazing.
It's absolutely amazing.
And it does, I suppose, cement the idea that it is now maybe the top
3 divisions,
7. But maybe it is the top 7.
Yeah.
Because any one of those teams who are in 5th, 6th and 7th
That's right.
could also be in the top 4.
Exactly.
Maybe Everton would be the outside one. But, I mean, what does it mean for Ross Barkley? Because obviously, just before that game, the conversation was all about Koeman saying Ross Barkley needs to make up his mind whether he wants to stay here or whether he wants to leave.
Well, I find that all an astonishing development. Now, I wasn't at Goodison last night, obviously. I saw Mr. Ken right there with Mr. Mashuri, who's our new owner.
Yes.
And, major shareholder. And,
member of the Sunday Times Rich List.
Yes, indeed. That's right. That's great, that, isn't it? And
well, great for him.
Yes, exactly. And, of course, the atmosphere is that, Ross is in the team today, so, it's not an internal dispute, is it? Because if it had been, Ross Barkley might have been dropped by Mr. Koeman, but it wasn't. He said, go out there and play.
Yeah.
He got the Man of the Match award.
Yeah.
He scored the winning goal.
Yeah.
And then Mr. Koeman brought him off 10 minutes from time.
Yeah.
And the crowd, as I understand it, but I wasn't there, gave him a thoroughly, decent ovation.
Decent ovation, yes.
Now, how do you interpret that? Were they giving him, thanks for us?
As a farewell?
Exactly. Was it a farewell, or was it a look? You've done great. You're going to stay, aren't you? I don't know how to read it.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't there. But all I can say
maybe
is
they're just sort of voicing their appreciation for whatever he's done this season.
Yeah, I think that's a good way of looking at it.
Because he has been quite good for them this season.
I think Mr. Coombs have been absolutely right to say, look, sign or else, because you can't have this thing, floating on. It makes it look like Ross Barkley is dictating terms, unless Mr. Coombs had come in and said, look, Ross, I can give you one more week, and then I'm afraid that you're going on the transfer list, and we'll accept offers for you. You've got to let me know now you're committed to being part of my plans for next season.
Well, there's a lot of talk around Everton today as well, with this supposed swap of Rooney and Lukaku. Well, what do you make of that?
I don't make a lot of it.
Really?
I don't make a lot of it. I mean, first of all, is Lukaku going to go back to Manchester United rather than Chelsea?
Yeah.
Secondly, have we absolutely accepted now that he is going to leave Everton? And thirdly, I have already said, although I supported Wayne Rooney very much in the game last weekend when I thought he made a very significant contribution to the game.
Yes.
And got a bit of stick from all sorts of people about that, but I don't care because Rooney's qualities are not always fully appreciated. I've already said I don't think it will work for Wayne Rooney to go back to Everton. You know, that was then, and now he's now. And if Everton want to progress next season, they've got to put more pace into the team, particularly if they lose Lukaku.
Well, they've got to spend a lot more money.
And Wayne Rooney, for all his outstanding assets, is not a boy who's going to bring pace to the team. That's all.
No, I think you're absolutely right. But he still may come and do something there. And Lukaku, if somebody pays the right amount of money, I think he's going to go. This is Talk Sport. We are the two mics. We've got loads more coming up, including the 1 minute moan, of course. John says this: I can't wait for Porky's next business venture, a CD consisting of him covering some Eurovision classics.
Yeah, absolutely.
And Keith says Bucksmith's song you're thinking of was The Land of Make Believe.
That's it, Land of Make Believe.
Maybe Porky could do a cover version for his stockbroker belt, Surrey.
Good idea.
Anyway, let's talk to Eleanor Mills, who is, of course, the editorial director of the Sunday Times.
Yep.
They're coming out tomorrow with some more rip snorters of stories, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Eleanor, very good afternoon to you. Welcome.
Hello. How are you both?
Very well
indeed.
Very well indeed. Now, I understand your cover boy may well be a former member of One Direction, Harry Styles.
It is. It's going completely crazy on social media. We've got an exclusive interview with Harry Styles talking about his new album because he's going solo, but also quite interestingly talking about politics.
Oh yeah,
which I can't say too much more about until tomorrow because I think it will be quite a big story. But we do actually get him on things.
Is he going to reveal who he's endorsing for the number 10 or something?
Slightly. It's a bit like Spice Girls and Maggie Thatcher, so it's quite interesting. Yeah, watch this space.
Well, I'll tell you what else is interesting, Eleanor. I've already seen a review of this album, right? And this is his first album as a solo artist, and the guy who's reviewed it is amazed. He said, I just don't believe it. You know, we think that when we look at these boy bands, they're just dancers and singers. He says, this is a quality album. And he's given it 9 points out of 10. So we might be in a situation, if you understand what I'm saying, Ella, if you can remember this, because, of course, you're a young person, but this could be Michael Jackson moving from the Jackson 5, you know what I mean?
Well, I think it could be. Chrissy Morrison, who did the interview for me, is a former editor of NME, and she knows her pop, and she thought the album was pretty good. She says that it's got lots of kind of big kind of classical references. She was referencing things like kind of Queen and a bit of Michael Jackson, and says that he really is a Fleetwood Mac, that it's actually really good and got some great tunes on it.
Yeah,
well I mean, I guess
that's exactly the verdict.
If anything, they can certainly afford to hire some decent session musicians to do the album with, so I mean, it should be at least high quality in that sense. But interesting picture of him as well in the Sun today, wearing what is being described as a sort of
a couch,
tablecloth couch type scenario, a suit in red and white. Have you seen that?
Yeah, I've seen that. That's good. In fact, he's photographed for us tomorrow in a bright orange suit, looking quite kind of David Bowie, and then with his kind of jacket open, looking very kind of Mick Jagger with lots of tattoos and things. So he's certainly trying to move into a new realm.
Well, I think it's only when you're as famous as Harry, and you've got about 25 million sort of Twitter followers worldwide, that you get away with wearing suits like that. If I wore a suit like that, people would laugh and point at me as I walked down the street.
They'd think you were a traffic cone.
They would, yeah. They'd think it was a mess. Yeah,
absolutely right. Now, the other thing you have to be very careful of course, Eleanor, is that whenever you do anything that has to do with what former One Direction stars do, you have to be, on Twitter, you have to be very careful you don't say anything negative, or else you get completely monstered by the One Direction army.
Yes.
The One Direction army are quite amazing. I mean, all credit to them. We released a picture of our cover, I think, on Thursday, and by 2 hours later, it had 10,000 retweets.
Wow!
And on Instagram, that was on Twitter. On Instagram, it was even bigger. And so and loads of them from all over the world writing to us saying, "Where can I get a copy of the magazine?"
Yes.
So much so that we set up something with Amazon so people can buy the magazine separately from wherever they are in the world.
Right,
that's great. Where did the interview take place, Eleanor?
Sorry, it took place in a restaurant in central London.
Oh, I see.
He was amazingly down to earth. He rang the interviewer, my deputy Chrissy, on her mobile. So she was putting her kid to bed one night, and she gets this call from an unknown number on her mobile phone. And she answers. She goes, "Hello," thinking it's someone trying to sell her kind of insurance for her credit card or whatever. And he goes, "Oh, it's Harry." And she's like, "Harry who?" He goes, Harry Styles. Could you meet me for lunch one day next week? Mm-hmm. So she was very funny, very funny.
I bet she was, and he was amazingly down to earth. Was he? He didn't do the old superstar routine in the restaurant and all that kind of stuff.
Oh no, apparently very sweet, very friendly, very well brought up, and also I think quite interestingly, the real superstars now bring you themselves. It's the kind of ultimate personal touch. It's kind of going, hey, I may be massively famous, but I'm really down to earth. I can still use a mobile. Yeah. Not like Tony Blair when he left office and he never made his own phone calls. It's kind of saying, Chris Martin does it as well, and it's a real sign that you're like a super great.
I totally agree with you, because when you see somebody who really loves themselves and their entourage of 12 or 15 people, and they tell people to roll out the red carpet outside the hotel at 2 a.m. so they can get in, that immediately gives you so much negativity. They do themselves no good, are they?
Well, you know that there's something wrong, because in my experience, the people who really got it, and I've done a lot of interviews in my career, everyone from Mikhail Gorbachev to Theresa May, and I find that the people who are really fantastically special don't need all the kind of rubbish that goes with it. They're not the people asking for only white candles and white carpet in their dressing room and all that kind of rubbish. Because if you're properly competent and good at what you do, you don't need millions of people around you to make you feel great.
Yes,
absolutely.
Well, listen, that's going to be a fantastic read, I'm sure, Eleanor. I'm afraid we're out of time. It's also a very good antidote to all the election stuff that's going on at the moment, which is
the election stuff.
Filling the papers up, which is quite boring.
Death.
But so we'll look forward to reading all of that tomorrow. Eleanor, thank you very much indeed. That's Eleanor Mills there from the Sunday Times magazine, editorial director, in fact, of the Sunday Times in total. This is Talk Sport. We are the two Mikes. The Manchester City-Leicester game has just got underway. Rangers are playing Hearts up in Scotland as well. It's 1-0 to Rangers. In fact, a player who used to play for Hearts has, I'm told, has pledged his troth to the two Mikes. Apparently, he's been listening to the show. Mark Birchall, his name is.
Oh yeah, no, Mark. Well, I know of him.
Played for Portsmouth. Played for Celtic.
He did. That's where I know him from.
Played for Hearts.
South Coast.
Joining one of the brood of people that listen to this show.
Yes.
How about this from Sam, who says, "How big is the iron cradle in multiples or divisibles of combine harvesters?"
Would you say? People always say that to me because I used it as a measurement one time.
You did once use it as a measurement. Chris says Porky's cleaner wouldn't have to sell his items if he paid her a proper wage.
That's a terrible thing to say. Well, I do always get things like this. It's the way that you've sort of portrayed me to our millions of listeners. So here we get a note here from a chap called Electrical. And he says, Porky doesn't have to wear an outlandish suit when walking down the street for people to point and laugh.
That's true.
Just his normal clothes will have that effect. Yeah. That's very nice, isn't it?
Well, that's very true, I think. And how about this from Freddie? Can old Jinxie please predict a Sunderland win for all of us Swansea fans? And he says, cheers, man.
Yeah, well, that's right. Yeah, we'll have to get into that vernacular. Now, listen, I've been just looking at the background.
Are you going to do it or not for him? Predict a Sunderland win? He wants you to predict a Sunderland win.
I am not going to predict a Sunderland win, no.
By the way, I was listening to Tony Cascarino
that is kowtowing to this ridiculous Porky Jinx theory.
Well, it's not ridiculous. It's very, very true. Now, I was listening to Tony Cascarino this morning. Yes. He was giving a pretty good account of David Moyes' career. And actually, when you think about it, he hasn't really had much of a career at all. Because he's pretty much had a terrible time of management at Sunderland, Real Sociedad, and Manchester United, the three clubs that he's done most recently, right?
Can't argue with that.
And Everton, apparently, in the first year, you'll know this, Roberto Martinez took over. He's got more points in the Premier League than Moyes ever got in the 10 years that he managed them. Apparently, that's a real statistic.
I'm not sure if that is correct or not. But I mean, but Roberto Martinez inherited... Roberto Martinez inherited Davy Moyes' team anyway, so he just sort of put a bit of polish on that.
What I'm saying...
Davy Moyes did get us into fourth place and into the Champions League, qualifiers, and that was an outstanding achievement going back as far as it was. I think it's 2004, when Everton didn't have any money, didn't have a bean in those days. So he did a fine job at Everton, but you were right in terms of shows your medals.
But he didn't really do anything. He didn't win anything, did he?
Yeah, but I can tell you, Mike, the atmosphere in those days, there was a huge pressure on Everton to try and break out of a malaise that had set in after the glory years. And Mr. Kenwright, the chairman, was under constant pressure to go and borrow 100, 200, 300 million pounds and, use this to restore Everton's position in the football world. And that was never going to happen. That was not Mr. Kenwright's view. And so he needed a manager who could do it on a budget and who could man-manage and operate well. And David Moyes did all of that in a period when it was perilous.
Yes.
You've got to remember, we've been very close
I get all that, but what I'm saying,
getting relegated on a couple of occasions.
No, listen, I get all that, but what I'm saying is that before he took over the job at Manchester United, he was being painted very much as a very, very safe pair of hands, a terrific manager, a guy who was going places.
Yes.
And I'm afraid that may have been a misconception, is all I'm saying.
Well, it may have been a misconception, but I think the problem with people accepting it or not accepting it is the endorsement came from Sir Alex Ferguson.
Indeed.
So with an endorsement like that, you have to say, well, Sir Alex Ferguson didn't get much wrong, therefore he must have been right. So I think that's what he's been landed with, really, that sudden and instant promotion into a job which we all know now, looking back, should have gone to one of the world's leading coaches. And one of the world's leading coaches who had a track record to prove that he was just that. You see what I mean? That's where it should have gone. It should have gone to Ancelotti, or it should have gone to, who were the other great managers 3-4 years ago? Jose Mourinho, I thought it should have gone to anyway at the same time.
Maybe Jose wouldn't have taken it at that time.
Well, maybe not,
because he wouldn't have wanted to go straight after Sir Alex Ferguson.
That's right.
But I just find it interesting that, David Moyes now has kind of ruined his own reputation, if you know what I mean.
Well, I know exactly what you mean, but it's a no-win situation for him now, because if he now butts out altogether, right, and says, I've had enough, and, he's accumulated a few bob, obviously, for working at those, those sort of clubs and then leaving them. OK, that's fine, but he would then be branded favourite. I would imagine, knowing David Moyes, I knew him quite well. I haven't spoken to him this season.
And he's always been a nice guy, hasn't he?
Well, he's a nice guy, but he doesn't really, I don't think, want his football career now to wind up on a low.
No, but he's going to have to struggle to get it back up to wherever it's going to be.
But at the moment, he's like a guy on the roulette table, isn't he? He's doubling his money to try and get his money back, and in his case, try and get his reputation back. By doing something very positive and very successful in football.
Yes.
So that's where he is now. And who he does that with next season, I think we're still a little bit unclear. But if his aim is to bring Sunderland up and he brings him back up, that will be a restorative move.
It will.
Without a shadow of a doubt.
It will. But I mean,
look what it's done for Rafa.
I don't think he's got a choice, to be honest. I think he has to stay with Sunderland and he has to try and get them back up, because it's the only way, really, that he can repair his reputation, I think.
Well, it depends what else he might be offered over the summer.
I don't think he's going to get offered anything.
Well,
I mean, why, if you're a Premier League owner or chairman, why would you offer him a job in the Premier League?
Because he's worked in the Premier League and he was once the Manchester United manager. That still holds an awful lot of sway in football circles. Look, you could say about an awful lot of managers, why do they keep getting offered jobs? Mark Hughes. Yeah. I don't think Mark Hughes has ever won anything, and he's had about half a dozen Premier League clubs.
But what he hasn't had is taking a club down into the Championship, as far as I'm aware.
Yeah, most people realise... No, I agree with that, but I mean, they were a lost cause by the time David Moyes got there, I thought, Sunderland. He had no spending money. The other thing I was going to say is, the mood and the drift is... changing gently about his time at Manchester United. It's not seen now to have been that bad in light of Louis van Gaal and in light of the struggle that Jose Mourinho's had. Yes. So I don't think he's as damned now as he was, the day after he left.
Well, that's an interesting point. Maybe we can ask Dom McGuinness about that, because we're going to go to Dom right now. He's watching Manchester City against Leicester for us. Dom, can we just ask you about David Moyes? Because we were just discussing him there about, Porky's saying he thinks that his kind of the story of his time at Manchester United is looked upon a bit more favourably now than it was when he was there.
After he left.
Not really amongst Manchester United supporters, I'd have to say. It was considered really, from the supporters' point of view, on a mitigated disaster. I think that, as everyone would accept, it would be very, very hard for anybody, I think you've already alluded to the point, to walk in after Sir Alex Ferguson and the incredible success of more than a quarter of a century and all the trophies that he won. So it was a thankless task in many ways, but obviously the time that he was there is not considered to be anything other than something that just did not work whatsoever. So the supporters, no ill will to the man himself, but in terms of his managership and obviously what happened or didn't happen, no, it was considered really a very poor showing. But obviously, you could argue that Louis van Gaal, yes, he did win an FA Cup, but he didn't find it easy in Jose Mourinho's. Even though Manchester United could arguably finish the season with a Community Shield, a League Cup and a Europa League, again, again, even in making a final the other night, many fans not happy with what they're looking at.
When will it become a debatable point as to whether Sir Alex Ferguson's responsible for where Manchester United are now, Dom? I know it's a daft question because of everything he won, but he got the handover wrong.
Well, it's not. It wasn't complete. It's not all down to him, is it? I mean, I know that he did have a meeting with David Moyes, and obviously he was his preferred candidate at the time, and everything else. But obviously things go on behind the scenes in terms of other candidates that they would have been speaking to. Really, had the timings been right. I'm looking at one of them, Pep Guardiola, in his Manchester City light grey suit, patrolling the technical area now. Now, obviously, that was a name that was bandied around at the time when Sir Alex was about to leave. Jose Mourinho, of course, who now has the job. So you don't quite know who was really properly available at the time in terms of David Moyes coming in. So I think that's a slight grey area, just like Pep Guardiola's suit, really, in many ways. But I think, obviously, Manchester United, Sir Alex Ferguson, victims of their own success, and again, because of the dominance, and again, you could say that Arsene Wenger's the only similar character in football these days that had complete ownership of the football club, if you like, from T-Lady and all the kids that play at the academy to the first team. Everything that went on there, he knew everybody's name, he knew everything that was going on. It doesn't work that way anymore, so it was never going to be quite the same for anybody.
Well, how about this from Mark in Norwich, who's tweeted in, texted in rather. He says, "Hi Mike, how about having a nominated moaner once in a while? I would love to get a moan off my chest."
Yes, really?
Yeah. Well, because we have a 1 minute moan, right?
Yeah.
What you're suggesting is that we should open it up to the members of the public,
or
the great unwashed, as you prefer to call them.
No, I do not call them the great unwashed. I've never called them that. The problem with that is that it could be a bit sort of wild, a bit random.
Oh, what do you mean? It's a bit sort of uncontrollable.
Well, that's what I'm worried about.
Yes.
We have to be very careful there. But nevertheless, we do appreciate all suggestions about how to improve this show. Difficult job, obviously, but very kind of you.
And there's a tweet here from Kelly, who's asking whether you could donate a sleeve of your Porky scratchings for our fundraiser for the Bolton Hospice.
Yes, of course I can.
Can you do that?
Does she mean a card?
I think so, yes.
A card, There's 10 packets on a card.
Yes.
Why don't I send her one with each packet signed, and then she can...
you now sign the packets?
I can, if she'd like me to. I did that at a charity thing the other night.
Can you get any more conceited about this?
What do you
Porky
mean?
scratching?
What do you mean?
What do you think anybody wants them signed for?
Well, they asked me to.
Well, they're going to eat them.
Sorry?
You think they're going to frame the packets afterwards?
Well, I don't know, but I it was a charity thing. I dropped a card round, and I was asked, could you sign them individually, because then we can sell them for more money. It's for a charity. It was children with cancer, so I'm very happy to do that if people ask me, okay?
All right.
So, don't...
I noticed you haven't still produced any for me. I mean, you've never actually offered me any.
Oh, no?
No.
Well, you wouldn't want them, would you?
No.
No, well, in that case, there wouldn't be any point.
I'd still like to be offered them, though.
Yeah. There's somebody here, Neil, has sent in a picture of me.
Yes.
And... So what's wrong?
Somebody sent a picture of me.
Yeah, that's right, and Del Piero. And
it's not a picture of you and Del Piero. It is two pictures, one of him and one of you.
That's right.
Comparing and contrasting the fact that you don't look anything like him because he's a very handsome devil.
No, I think what they're saying is that some pictures tell a story, and these are two very commendable men. I think that's
is that what you think they mean?
Yes, that's right. Yeah,
I beg to differ. By the way, it's the Spanish Grand Prix this weekend, don't you?
Of course I do. Yes,
we've got to talk about that as well
because old Alonso seems to be in a bit of a funny mood.
Well, not so much that. I'm wondering about Lewis Hamilton, whether he's going to have a pretty miserable old season, because things are not going well with his car, it would seem, because he's got a Mercedes like you.
Yeah, but hang on, didn't he lead the timings yesterday?
Huh?
In first practice.
Yeah, he did, but he's not having a good season, is he? He had a terrible race last time around in Russia.
Yeah, he did.
Sochi.
Yeah, something went wrong with his car.
That's what I'm saying. He's got
put
a Mercedes.
his foot on the accelerator and nothing was happening.
It's a bit like your car.
But generally speaking, it's good. We're going to talk to Kevin soon, aren't we, about the Eurovision Song Contest.
Just let me ask you one more question, because somebody else this morning tweeted me a picture of the car that you say you're buying.
Oh, yeah.
This new F-Pace,
F-Type,
right?
yeah.
F-Type, sorry.
F-Type, yeah.
125,000.
Yes.
Is that how much it is?
They can be quite expensive.
Is that what you're going to pay for a car?
No, I'm not. That's
you're getting a knockoff, are you?
No, I'm getting a knockoff, but I mean, that's the very top of the range, super duper.
Oh, so you're going to have like a sort of cheap version of it?
No, I'm not going to have a cheap version.
Well, no extras?
No. Oh, no.
How much are you going to pay for yours then?
Well, I don't want to get into that, but do you know one of the...
Man of the people.
Do you know one of the facilities...
80 grand for a car.
No. Do you know one of the facilities I've been offered?
What?
And I'm seriously thinking about it. No, you'll mock me for this, but it's something which I think is just where you get to in life. It's having my initials sewed into the leather of the seat. So what's your problem?
Brilliant. Yeah, you should definitely do that.
And I can't.
Why don't you get them to put your face on it?
No.
Instead of the Jaguar in the front.
I can't decide whether it should be MP, because that's my normal name, obviously, Michael Parry, or PP for Porky Parry, you see.
What a dilemma.
Or MPP.
How much are they going to charge you for that?
Or MPP.
About $2,000.
My Porky Parry. Well, I don't want to get into that.
I bet they will be charging you about $2,000 for that.
I haven't even committed myself to it yet.
See, they see you coming, these people.
What?
They see you coming.
No.
Why would you want to put... I mean, it's not as if anyone's going to nick the seats, is it? Why do you need to put your initials on them?
Well, I just think you feel good. You know, when you get into your car is your...
Nobody else is ever going to see them.
No. You spend more time in your car than any other place except your home, don't you? So...
Well, do you?
So, yeah,
you didn't come in your car today?
Yeah. No, I didn't actually, no. So I like to feel, it's my domain, so to speak.
Yeah, but nobody else is ever going to see it, is it? Are they?
Well, yeah, of course they will. Other people get in the car.
Oh, who are you going to give a lift to?
Well, you lift to people. Obviously, I do. You know, sometimes people come down to the coast with me to spend
Once I came in your car.
Day. Yeah,
Once I've been in your car in 4 years.
Is that true? Didn't we go to Bournemouth in it?
We did.
Yeah, that's right.
That was the one time I went in it.
Oh, yeah, but before that, when I had Jaguars, we used to run off down to those studios in Surrey. And
that was very rare, though.
Yeah, but it's still, still my car.
When are you getting this new car?
Sorry?
When are you getting it?
Well, again, I'm working on that one because it's about delivery times and all that.
Right.
There's apparently a bit of a shortage on the walnut fascia that I need for my dashboard. Sorry, what's your problem?
A shortage of a walnut fascia?
Yeah.
Talk about white boy problems.
What?
Adam says, please tell Porky to never compare Harry Styles to Michael Jackson again.
Why?
Well, presumably because he thinks that they're nowhere near comparable. I mean, I presume he thinks that Michael Jackson is a much more, shall we say, all-round performer than Harry Styles.
I didn't actually. What I said was, is it a situation in which Michael Jackson turned out to be a supreme talent in a boy band, which is what the Jackson 5 was, and moved away into being a solo artist because he was so talented? Is Harry Styles going to do that? Is he going to move away from, 1D? And
One Direction,
and become an individually brilliant artist. I don't know. I just said it might take the same route. I didn't say that Harry Styles was as good as Michael Jackson.
Well, your taste in music is being
because
exposed,
I've no idea.
More and more, particularly now that we've now learned that you're a fan of Eurovision. Because we've talked to Kevin O'Sullivan now. You came in full of the joys of spring about it this morning.
I said it's a parody type competition. It's something that people take the mickey out of. Millwall fans in the East End of London have parties to celebrate Eurovision, but I'm not a fan of it. I think it's just a great laugh.
Okay, well let's talk to Kevin O'Sullivan and see what he thinks of it, because I think it's a joke as well. Kevin, a very good afternoon to you, I should say.
Hello, boys. All right.
Hi, Kev. Very well, thank you.
So it's only Millwall fans that have Eurovision parties,
well,
is it?
for some unknown reason, you know that
Porky's got a death wish.
No. These Millwall fans are very patriotic, as you know, EastEnders and all that kind of stuff, and anything that's a sort of international competition, they get behind. So they have all these parties.
But I think, in fairness, these parties happen all over the country.
Right. Okay.
In an ironic kind of a way.
Yeah, ironic parties. Now, obviously, we're terribly sorry to have to drag you away from your preparations for the Fulham game later on today.
Yeah, listen, I won't be watching Eurovision. I'll be down at Craven Cottage.
Good man.
Hopefully celebrating by then.
Exactly right. Now, I mean, how is this still going would be my question, because it's awful, isn't it, this Eurovision Song Contest?
It is. It's the 62nd Eurovision Song Contest. There were 42 countries involved. Some of them have been kicked out in this week's semi-finals. The point is 200 million people watch this programme around the world. About 8 to 9 million will watch it on the BBC tonight.
Yeah.
All 3.5 hours of it. British people in particular will be glued to it, even though we know that almost certainly will come last or thereabouts. I mean, do you know what William Hills are offering on odds on us coming 42nd or, last of tonight's bunch?
Short.
3-1.
How much?
3-1.
3-1, crikey. And I've seen a figure of 25-1 for null points for the British.
Exactly.
So
exactly. Now the thing is that there are two things. Lucy Jones is a sort of X-Factor reject. So there are two reasons that she is doomed to humiliation tonight. One is her song "Never Give Up on You" is a collection of lousy lyrics in search of a tune. It's a terrible song. And secondly, never before have we got so much political opposition as we will have tonight. Every single year, all the Eastern nations, Azerbaijan, Estonia, Latvia, Moldova, they all gang up on us anyway, and because we're a horrible symbol of the wicked West. So they underscore us and overscore themselves. Obviously, tonight will be the Brexit factor, because the word is out of Kiev, where the contest is, that Germany and France and the EU gang are lining up to punish us for leaving their little club. So poor old Lucy, even if she had the best song in the world, she wouldn't be doing very well. But she's got a terrible song, and she's got all this inbuilt opposition. Thing to say about this Eurovision in particular tonight is, it's supposed to be this symbol of peace, love, and international brotherhood and all that. I mean, the backdrop to this is that it's one of unprecedented bitterness. Russia has been kicked out, banned from taking part because Ukraine hates them, basically.
With good reason, you'd have to say.
Russia's refused to televise it, and one of their MPs in Moscow has dismissed the Eurovision as a festival of Sodom and Gomorrah. So there's a lot of bad feeling. All this sort of happy, snappy, smiley, don't we love each other? Rubbish. This year's contest is a symbol of international hatred.
Yeah, and the thing is, Kev, I understand.
Right up your street, then,
absolutely, I understand all that. And if it was just singers who came on and sung songs, then I would understand how all that pans out. But I'm looking at some of the contestants, and you tell me how this can ever emerged as a competition. The guy from Azerbaijan sings standing on top of a ladder. The guy from Italy sings in a gorilla. The guy from Italy sings in a gorilla suit. The guy from Croatia wears an attire which is a biker's outfit on one half of his body and a butler's outfit on the other. The Norwegian contestant does it dressed up as Thor with a face mask on. Another bloke in Romania gets blown out of a cannon. Now, I mean, this is a circus. This is not a singing competition.
Well, absolutely. It's a camp carnival. By the way, the Italian guy, he's not in a gorilla suit. He sings next to a bloke in a gorilla suit.
Right.
You got to get these nuances right.
Yeah.
And his song is called Occidental Karma and is the runaway favourite to win. So look for Italy to triumph tonight.
Right. Okay.
But you're right. Of course, it's a carnival of stupid costumes. It's a ludicrously over-the-top event.
I mean, does it make? I presume it must make some kind of money for somebody, otherwise it wouldn't be still going.
As I said, Mike, it's watched by 200 million people around the world. It is the most watched program in all the world.
Good God!
And it's actually screened in America.
Yeah.
God knows why they
screened in America.
Yeah. And don't forget, it's funny you're talking about the Azerbaijan guy on the ladder. He's, Azerbaijan, that well-known European country.
Yes.
But it's probably it's a bit closer to Europe than that other contestant from the middle of Europe, Australia.
Australia, that's right, yeah.
But the Americans love it, and what's ironic about that is one of the reasons that Britain, the UK, always gets a hard time is because we're seen as friends of America, and to Eurovision, America is the hated enemy.
Yeah.
So it's not actually a symbol of international brotherhood, it's a symbol of sort of partisan brotherhood, and they hate America. The point is, serious politicians actually do not take this lightly. They actually do look at Eurovision as a bellwether to the way people in the mood music of Europe, if you see what I mean.
Unbelievable.
It is incredible.
Very superstitious. Writings on the wall. Very superstitious.
Now, what did I tell you about this game up at Manchester City?
What did you tell me?
I told you there would be a lot of goals there.
Oh, did you?
And you said who's going to score them, and I said David Silva and Jesus from Manchester City.
No, you mentioned Jesus.
No, I said David Silva and Jesus will score.
But anyway, why are you sort of seeking a bit of glory?
I was just saying, because for some reason...
2 goals have been scored in a football match.
For some reason, right, some guy called Danny has texted in, or tweeted in rather, says, who is the plank now, MG? Manchester City are winning.
Yes.
Well, I didn't say they wouldn't win. I said there would be a lot of goals.
Yes.
And so don't call me a plank, Danny.
Yeah.
You're obviously a plank for not listening properly.
Hey, now, come on, let's keep the abuse down. Christine is driving from Connecticut to Washington, D.C.
Is she?
A route I have driven myself.
Christine who?
Well, I don't know, but she's Christine Merritt, actually, and she's sent us
a full name?
A text because she's put it on her on her
Is that your friend Christine?
That's not my friend Christine, no. Driving from Connecticut to Washington, D.C., listening and helping and hoping, I think she means.
Yeah.
She says helping, Leicester wins. Well, I'm afraid at the moment, Christine, it is not going their way.
It's not going well. Pete says this, the cheapest new Jaguar F-Type Coupe is $49 £9,000, and that's only a 2-litre 4-cylinder job.
Oh, OK.
So that won't be the one you're getting, will it?
No, I think mine's got a 5-litre engine.
5 litres?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
You don't really care about the planet, do you?
What?
You don't really care about the planet?
I'm very concerned about the planet.
Why you get a 5-litre car?
Well, it's the only one that fits that model, so to speak. You know what I mean?
Well, no, you could get a 2-litre one.
But, sorry?
You could get a 2-litre one.
Well, no, the point is that they are incredibly burn efficient, these engines these days.
Burn efficient.
Yeah, and also...
but a 5-litre engine is going to be much, much less efficient than a 2-litre.
Well, what I'm saying to you is that if a car goes fast, it gets to where it's going quicker, and therefore does not emit as many,
Really? Good luck getting across London.
Well, I don't go across London, you see. I go down to the coast in it, and that is the sort of journey it's designed for, OK?
Yeah, okay.
So no problem at all.
All right.
Okay?
You go down to the coast this weekend?
No, but I will early next week.
Will you?
Because you're taking some time off,
I won't be here, that's right.
Do you want to tell the audience what you're doing next
week? No,
not
particularly, no.
OK.
Baz says this, I've just had P sewn into the seats, Porky. They're probably charging around $5,000 a letter anyway.
What did you say?
He said, why don't you just have P sewn in for Porky?
Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah, well,
because he might save himself some money.
Well, I see what you mean. Yeah, well, listen, thank you for thinking of me. I will consider that one.
Julian also
right
says
away.
The only initial Porky needs is P for plank.
That's very nice, isn't it?
And the same one from Mars. He says Porky should have plank sewn into his F-type upholstery.
Yeah.
Now, why are we playing Stevie Wonder earlier?
He's 67 today.
Is he?
Yeah. Isn't that amazing?
I thought he might have been older than that.
He's 67. He's been married 3 times or 4 times, something like that.
Quite a few times, yeah.
Isn't he an amazing man? I mean, considering that he's never been able to see what a piano looks like and never been able to, obviously, read or write. Well, he might write music, but he obviously can't read it. And
he could probably read it in Braille, couldn't he?
Yeah, I suppose he could. Yeah. If somebody had written it in Braille, I suppose he could. Yeah. But what I'm saying is,
obviously, it'd have to be written in Braille first in order for him to read it in Braille.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. I don't know whether they write music in Braille, do they?
Well, I would imagine so.
Yeah, I mean, there's a Braille alphabet, obviously, for letters and things. Is there?
I would imagine so.
Is there a Braille?
I would think so.
You know, it's like a crochet or crotchet or whatever it's called.
Crotchet and a quaver.
And a quaver, that's right. Yeah, you get them in Braille, do you?
I would imagine so.
Yeah, okay.
I would think so.
All right, well, I don't know.
Why wouldn't you?
Sorry?
Why wouldn't you?
Why wouldn't you?
Yeah.
I've just never heard about it before. But anyway, look, the point I'm saying is I think he's a remarkable man because considering, he's had the infirmity of blindness all his life, what a successful man he is.
Yeah.
And also, how does
Beethoven was deaf, wasn't he?
Only towards the end.
Yeah, but he was still composing music.
Yeah, he was, yeah. But
which is even more bizarre in a way than somebody composing music who's blind.
Yeah, I suppose you're right.
You don't need to be able to see to compose music.
No,
but you'd think you'd be able to have to hear.
Yeah, well, that's a very good point.
Thank you.
But I think you do have to see, don't you? Because you have to be able to, like...
Well,
if you don't know the shape of a musical instrument, then you have to just rely on the sound that comes out of it without imagining, the way you can use it and all that kind of stuff.
Why would you need to know the shape of a musical instrument?
Well, I mean, you need to know the shape of a flute to appreciate what a flute does, wouldn't you?
No.
Yes, you would.
No, the point of a flute, right, is what? What is the purpose of a flute?
It's putting air in at one end of the pipe and it's coming out the other.
You're being deliberately obtuse here. What is the purpose of a flute? What does it do? What is its nature?
It's used by a flautist.
Yes, to do what?
To make tunes.
To make tunes, right. So what do you need to do in order to hear those tunes? You need to have ears and you need to be able to hear. That's all.
And you need to blow into the flute.
Yeah, but you don't need to see anything, do you?
Yeah, I think you do. I think you do.
It's not creating anything for you to see. It's creating something for you to hear.
If a musician looks at a flute and they must have some mental image of how I can use this flute to make sounds.
Yeah, it doesn't matter, though.
It does.
Oh, there's another goal at the Etihad.
Oh, blimey.
This time it is for Leicester City. Let's go to Dom McGuinness.
Well, it makes it interesting. Manchester City 2, Leicester City 1, 41 minutes played, and what a strike as well. Okazaki on the volley.
So I told you there'd be a lot of goals. There's 3 goals already.
3 goals, that's great, yeah.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Only 42 minutes gone.
Only 42 minutes gone, yeah. It might not be any more, of course.
I think there will be.
Now, listen, I don't know what I want to talk to you about.
Have you cleared up the business with the flute then?
Yeah, we cleared up the flautist. Don't worry about that. James, what's his name, was the most famous flautist?
James Galway.
Yeah. I give you my heartache for riding. Oh, no, that was John Denver, wasn't it? Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, although he'd also played Annie's song, I think, James Galway.
He did,
but he didn't sing along with it. He just plays the flute.
Well,
he doesn't sing in a mock Irish accent, like some kind of cut-rate Brendan Rodgers.
Yeah, but if you're playing the flute, you can't sing. Anyway, if you're singing, who's blowing into the flute? Do you get a blower? Anyway, listen, I want to tell you about this great story.
You've seen the time, by the way.
Yeah, don't worry about it.
Why don't you hold on to that thought?
All right. It's a
great
development. I feel proud of my country to have come across this.
Wales.
No, England.
Here's one from Jim who says, a singing gorilla in Eurovision. That would just be silly. It's a dancing gorilla, obviously. Half-time up at the Etihad. Let's go to Dom McGuinness and find out how exciting it's going to be the next 45 minutes. Dom.
It should be all right. Half-time here, Manchester City 2, Leicester City 1.
Big game coming up this afternoon, of course. It's Reading against Fulham.
Yep.
Let's talk now to Tom Barkley, the Sun's Football League correspondent, to find out what sort of game we can expect. Tom, very good afternoon to you.
Afternoon, chaps. How are you doing?
Yeah, very well, Tom.
Very well indeed. Massive game, this, of course, as it always is. You know, any chance to get up to the Premier League for any of these teams is going to make them. And if they don't get up there, it's not going to break them. But another year in the Championship and not making the kind of money that they'd love to make. What do you see happening?
Yeah, absolutely. This is a game which I don't think most people would have predicted these two teams being in the playoffs at this point at the start of the season, but they definitely deserve it after fantastic seasons both. I mean, Fulham probably play the best football in the division. Reading, people seem to write off. I remember speaking to Jan Kermorgant this week, their striker, and he says that everyone talks about Fulham, talks about Sheffield Wednesday and Huddersfield, but then when it comes to Reading, they don't talk about them at all. In fact, they often say it's not Leeds who maybe finished in the other position, but you definitely can't rule them out. And I think it's cliche, but I think it's going to be very close, particularly being obviously two legs. You have to fancy Fulham the way they're playing, but it's not going to be as easy as some people might think.
And the Huddersfield game with Sheffield Wednesday tomorrow at midday. Is it an advantage to play second, if you like, or does it matter?
You think so, just because you're playing in front of your home fans for that second leg. And I think in this case, it will be, because if you've been to Hillsborough in the last few years, I was at the playoff semi-final last year against Brighton, where they won 2-0. And admittedly, Brighton had 4 injuries after an hour. It was a bizarre game, but the atmosphere at Hillsborough was electric. It's the best atmosphere I've ever been to, hands down. And you like to think, from a Sheffield Wednesday point of view, that rocking atmosphere will see them home. And I probably would favour them with the way that Huddersfield have slightly tailed off. But again, they've had a fantastic season as well. It's pretty hard to call.
Tom, you've covered so many of these games, and what do you think the feel-good factor within football is about this one? I.e., football always wants one of the two teams to get back into the Premier League, and on this occasion it's got to be Fulham, because they are so traditionally a top-flight team. They're based in London. Reading are great, and their benefactor, Mr. Majewski, who's put 50-60 million pounds of his own money in, have done a brilliant job, but they're not fashionable, are they, like Fulham?
No, I don't think they are. I think you're right. It's hard to put your finger on exactly why that is. Maybe it is the London-centric thing for Fulham, although Reading's not exactly far away.
No,
really.
it's not. It's not. But Fulham has legendary, Alan Mullery connections, Bobby Moore connections, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, perhaps a bit of a stronger history. And like I said before, the way they play under Slavisa Jokanovic, they're going to be everyone. If they do get promoted, they're going to be everyone's second favourite team, because they're going to be massively entertaining. You look at Middlesbrough, who went up this year.
Yes.
They deserve to go up, but it's been a shame, really. They feel like they haven't really properly had a go. No. Whereas if Fulham go up, maybe they will struggle to stay up still, like any team being promoted, but at least they'll be a bit of entertainment for people to watch.
Yes. Well, we also know they've now got the owner of the Jacksonville Jaguars behind them, and perhaps they are, of the 4 teams, the most likely to kind of capitalise properly on the promotion if they get it, because as much as Sheffield Wednesday have got a great history as well, Huddersfield, not so much. You wonder whether any of the other 3 teams could actually kind of sustain.
Well, the Jaguar boss also realises the value of a Premier League team in the sports franchise.
Well, exactly right. So I'm just wondering whether you'd agree with that, in the sense, Tom, that Fulham really are best placed to stay up if they get promoted.
Possibly. I mean, Sheffield Wednesday have got a very rich owner in Dejan Chanzarai. I mean, he could well splash the cash, as he has done anyway at Sheffield Wednesday so far. Reading, there's likely to be a takeover soon. So who's to say how they would invest, whether they would throw money at it or not. But Fulham, when you talk about Shahid Khan, the Jacksonville Jaguars owner, the chairman, let's be honest, his tenure so far has been a bit of a disaster. Lots of managers, things haven't worked out. Finally, it seems like he's come across a formula that's worked, not only with Jokanovic, who I really rate as a fantastic manager, at least in the Championship. Not really sure why he didn't get a chance at Watford in the Premier League after getting promoted. But, they've got several good players. Tom Kearney's definitely one to watch out for. We all know about Ryan Sessegnon, 16 years old. It's just an amazing story. But also their method of signing players through statistics, which other clubs do, has been a little controversial, and Jokanovic has been a bit negative about it before. But you've got to say, the likes of Neeskens Cabano, the likes of Floyd Aiti, these are first-team players now who no one would have heard of, and perhaps still haven't heard of. But they're it's paying off. They're obviously doing very well.
Yeah, great stuff. Listen, Tom, thank you very much indeed. Thanks, Tom Barkley there, the Sun's Football League correspondent, looking ahead to that game this afternoon, Fulham against Reading, and then tomorrow, Huddersfield against Sheffield Wednesday.
That's right.
Russell has sent us a tweet. He says, enjoying the high life at Borough Market, £13.50 for a bottle of champagne cider. Discovered this place thanks to old MG, which is always nice to get a bit of recognition.
Sorry, what's he praising you for?
For discovering Borough Market.
What do you mean? Borough Market's a huge market, near London Bridge.
Yeah, but he
in
would
London.
never have gone there had I not mentioned it to him.
Well, you're taking credit for saying, I introduced this man to Borough Market.
Well, I'm not taking credit. He said that he would never have known about the place if it wasn't for listening to this show and listening to me.
Well, he must be a bit dim then, because,
nice,
the way you find out about
He's
these
one of
places.
the listeners to the show.
And is he visiting London or something, or what?
Well, I don't know. He didn't write his entire sort of, a CV down.
Yes.
Looking at his Twitter account, he's a Wycombe Wanderers fan from High Wycombe. So I guess he's visiting London for the day.
Okay. Well,
do you want to know anything inside leg measurement? I mean, I don't know anything about the guy.
No. I'm just.
And how about this one from Pete?
I'm
who
just
says
trying to work it out.
The 5-litre F-Type starts at £90,860, and that's with no optional extras.
Right.
Hashtag man of the people. You're actually going to spend 95 grand on a car.
Look, we're not getting into that, are we? Because
you said you were getting a 5-litre version.
Well, I really don't think that this is something that our millions of listeners want to hear about. They want to hear about great stories that I can bring them, right?
Well, I think you buying a car for 100 grand is a great story.
Now, listen, don't you like these great stories about youngsters who go to university, right?
Yes.
And it's the Bill Gates thing all over again, and the Zuckerberg thing all over again. Yeah. And then halfway through their course, they suddenly decide, hang on, I'm too good for this, and they've come up with this great idea. And this is what's happened to these two guys at Cambridge.
Oh, yeah.
Fantastic. Friends who met in a university computer room have become overnight multi-millionaires after a Japanese firm invested in their virtual reality firm.
Really?
It's fantastic. I love these stories. It's been my dream all my life to come up with an idea which transformed me into a
funnily enough, I was going to say, without giving too much away of the individual suggestion, did you not see that email that came in yesterday, which was forwarded on to both of us? Came into the Two Mikes email address on the website. And what was it? And it was a guy who is a postie who's got an invention that he wants you to back.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
Do you remember reading that?
Yes, I do, yeah.
Are you going to get involved?
Well, I'm going to talk to you about that subsequently after the show.
You can talk to me about it?
You can talk to you
Why
about
do you
it.
want to talk to me about
Well, there's some issues you might be able to bring.
I mean, I'm not getting involved. I'm not the person that... I'm not you, right? You're the one that's always talking about how you want to be on the ground floor of one of these amazing inventions.
Well, I've got to launch the scratchings across the country. We're going to be in every pub in this country, I hope. That's my eventual ambition.
I mean, why don't you just buy a shop and you'd be happy?
And I am, at the moment...
being on the radio, just buy a shop.
At the moment, I am pursuing dialogue with titans of industry.
Pursuing dialogue? What, you mean you're calling them and they're not calling you back?
No. That'd be ridiculous. You don't know how these things work.
Yeah, I do, actually.
No, you don't. No,
I do.
No. And,
I know exactly how they work.
And, that will move on. But I want to tell you about these two guys. Their names are Herman Narula.
Herman?
Herman Narula.
You see that chain of sausage shops now called Herman the German?
No.
There's one in just by Charing Cross Station.
No, it's got nothing to do with this Herman. Herman Narula and Rob Whitehead.
Whitehead,
he's got a Whitehead. Along with co-founder Peter Lipka, they set up their firm Improbable 5 years ago.
Oh, yeah.
Right, at the time they were students. The £390 million.
I like the name.
Yes, you like the name? Yeah, okay. £390 million cash injection from SoftBank values their company now at £800 million.
Wow.
The investment by SoftBank, owned by the controversial billionaire Masayoshi Son, who last year bought the UK tech giant Arm Holdings. Remember that? The firm based in Cambridge, I think, wasn't it? Everybody said, you can't let this great British firm go to overseas investors. But, that's the way the world works.
Right.
Improbable uses software to create virtual worlds, right, that can be used in video games as well as simulations of the real world. It employs 200 people.
Wow.
This is great. In London and San Francisco.
Right.
And the founders think their technology has unlocked the door to the next major phase in computing.
Right. So it's kind of virtual reality. So it's basically gaming in a sort of different dimension, if you like, right?
Yes, that's right. Yeah. That's right. Yeah.
It's not. It's not something I know too much about because it's not something I would do.
But you understand the principle.
Oh yeah, and it's massively popular.
Massively popular. Yeah. Absolutely right. It's a long way from the day in March 2012. So that's just 5 years ago.
Yes.
Where Mr. Narula, who was then 24, and Mr. Whitehead, who was then 21, became friends just weeks before handing in their last computer science assignment at Cambridge University. A chance meeting in the computer room saw the pair start chatting about their mutual fascination with video games. They met again the next day, and by that weekend, they had agreed to travel to Mr. Narula's parents' home in North London. Yeah. It was his birthday, but it didn't stop the pair sitting and writing computer program codes for 16 hours overnight. They roped in college friends to help, and within months, there were 20 graduates in the house.
This was 5 years ago.
That was 5 years ago.
They're not university students anymore. They've been running a company for 5 years.
Yes, that's right.
And now it's been bought for 800 million.
Yes, but what I'm saying is it was 5 years ago when they were both at Cambridge. They decided, forget this for a game of soldiers. Right. They handed in their dissertations.
They went all the way through the course, didn't they?
Yeah, that's right. But I love those stories, don't you?
Yeah, well, up to a point I do.
But
I mean,
I love them.
It's still a great story, but it's not as great as I thought. Because
no, it is great.
I thought what you were going to tell me was these two guys were about 18 and they decided to somehow chuck in their university thing.
No.
And now they're going to make 800 million quid.
No. I just love it because I like winners. Winners to me are an aphrodisiac.
You just
know
like
what I mean?
Money.
No. I like winners. No, winners in.
I can imagine you
right
in sort of years to come taking a load of money out of the bank, right, £100 notes, and lying on a bed and throwing the money over yourself. That's what I can imagine you doing.
That'd be ridiculous.
With a camera sort of filming it all.
We don't have £100 notes, do we?
Don't we?
No, I don't think so.
No,
50, I think,
50
is the maximum.
Oh, well, you're the expert.
I've seen plenty of £50 notes.
Yeah, I'm sure you have.
How long has this been going on?
You know what that music signifies, don't you?
Absolutely.
It is time for the 1 minute to moan.
It certainly is.
Now, you're not doing too well in this one, I have to tell you.
I'm doing pretty well.
It's now 14-6 to me.
I won last week.
Yeah, you did.
I don't recognise that 14-6.
Well, it was 14-5, and now it's 14-6.
I don't know where you got 14 from. Anyway, we better get on with it because time is short, and
it is.
I'm going to let you go first.
You're going to let me go first?
Yes.
Well, you better start the clock then.
Okay, Mr. Invigilator, fire the clock.
Fire the clock. You don't fire a clock, you start it.
Get on with it.
I've started already. My 1 minute moan is about the National Health Service, right? All over the papers today, all you can read about is the National Hacked Service. Scores of hospitals have apparently been hit. All sorts of documentation has been hacked and taken away and removed. All sorts of confidential information. The NHS, as I have said in many moans before, is not fit for purpose, right? My son has been off sick for about a week and a half now, and every time you take him to the doctor, they say, well, of course, you can't give you any antibiotics because that will make them immune to any future antibiotic treatment. And it's all about not giving pills away to help people get better because it's too expensive, right? Now they can't even protect their own computers. It is a complete and utter shambles. Nobody knows who's actually hacked into the system. Nobody knows where any of this information has gone. People who have got operations which they need to have done are being told, sorry, we've lost all your records, we don't know what to do about it. It is a complete and utter shambolic operation. We keep being told, we need to put more money into the NHS. We've put billions into it already. Billions and billions and billions and billions of pounds. And it's not good enough. There you go.
That was very wide-ranging.
Wide-ranging?
Yeah.
Well, that's why my score is 14 and your score is 6, because yours is always very narrow and self-obsessed, rather like you.
It was a sort of a covert way of having a go at your local doctor on the back of the NHS.
Not true.
Anyway,
so have you got yourself ready?
Oh, absolutely.
Are you sure? Is it going to be about Native Americans today?
No.
Or anything to do with you?
No.
No? Okay,
no.
Well, we'll be surprised. Please fire the clock.
Now then, I've come across a report, this is a very, very serious issue, about plants being sold in garden centres. And no, you're laughing, but
they do get sold in garden centres.
You're an idiot. The problem is that a lot of plants being sold in garden centres are covered in a pesticide, which is killing bees when the plants are taken home and put in people's gardens. Now, this is incredibly serious because, as we all know, will you just shut your fat mouth? Well, as you all know, if a bee doesn't pollinate a plant, then we're all going to starve to death on Earth, because it's only through pollination that we actually have food, OK? Now, this report I've seen, more than 70% of pollinator-friendly specimens studied by scientists tested positive for pesticides. Those plants are being taken home, put in people's gardens. 29 plants examined at Sussex University, 27 contained the chemicals.
Really?
These are going to kill our bees.
Really?
Bees are in trouble already. We're losing bees hand over fist. There's only half the bees in the country that there were 5 years ago.
That's awful.
No,
That's
it's
possibly
brilliant.
the worst one you've ever done.
It's brilliant.
Unbelievably bad.
That was in 1 minute.
That wasn't even a moan. What it was you reading from one of your journals.
No. That was in 1 minute an indication. And my moan was all about we could starve to death if people don't get this right.
Well,
and
that's not going to happen, is it?
That is the ultimate sanction. If you wipe out bees,
we're
all dead.
Why are you still going? You've had the 1 minute. You're only allowed to have a minute to do it.
Yeah, because then you
going on about it.
Because then you made a comment about it, and I had to respond.
Is that right?
Right. Anyway, I await the verdict of the judge. Yours was pathetic. I thought
our producer today, Tom, will make a decision
exactly
in the next few moments, and he'll tell us precisely who he believes has won.
Hang on, is that the Tom who I've invited to the Football Writers' Dinner on Thursday?
I don't know.
As my guest.
Well, how do I know?
Oh,
well, only you know who you've invited.
And there'll be a bit of free booze as well. Is that the same Tom? I don't know. Is it?
I don't know. Have you invited people to that?
Yes, I have.
It's good of you to give a warning to all the other football writers to know now that they're not going to cancel their reservation because you're going to be roaming about giving people a hard time.
No, it's a great night out, by the way. Oh, yeah, when I take somebody there, they get honestly, I just
let's hope you manage to keep yourself, make sure you keep yourself in order.
Yeah, I will, don't worry.
Because without me there to keep you company,
exactly.
You might go a bit off the rails.
Well, you pulled out because of your mission.
Well,
People want to know about your mission
I'm not
next
able
week.
to go. Well, you see, in fact, it's not unlike you, because most of your life is completely and utterly secret, okay? I like to keep some things personal. I don't like to tell everybody about everything that I'm doing. Okay? So that's my ruling.
People think you're having plastic surgery.
Some people actually think I'm having a snip as well. I can assure you it's not either of those things.
They think you're having all this bulbous flesh just below your mouth cut off, your jowls.
Well, if I wanted to lose 15 stone of bulbous flesh, I'd just have you shot. TalkSport 2 is the home of the Super League, Premiership Rugby, La Liga and so much more, and you can tune in right now by retuning your DAB or by downloading the TalkSport app. And here's some of what's coming up on TalkSport 2 over the next 7 days.
Indeed it is. The Aviva Premiership semi-finals, it's Exeter versus Saracens and Wasps versus Leicester. Super League Magic Weekend with 2 commentaries live from St James's Park and coverage from Rome of the ATP Masters Tennis. And don't forget, TalkSport 2 has dedicated shows devoted to European football, to golf, to racing, cricket, and lots more.
Still 2-1 to Manchester City up there at the Etihad. We'll be going back to Don McGuinness shortly. Right. Just about half an hour left to go.
When are we getting the result of the 1 minute moan?
The 1 minute moan. Well, I mean, Tom, the guy that you've invited to the Football Writers' Dinner,
that's right. It is,
By the way, why are you going to that, since you're not really a football writer?
Because I am an esteemed member of the Football Writers' Association.
Yeah, so anyone can get in that, can they?
No, you have to be invited in. And
don't you have to be a writer, though?
You have to work in the medium of sport in the way I have for maybe 25 years, you know what I mean? And in that way...
Well, see, the thing is, when I first met you, you were a news reporter.
Yes, that's right.
So you didn't work in sport then?
No,
you were actually a writer?
Yeah, but I was good enough to do both.
So you've never actually been a football writer?
Of course I have.
When?
Well, you see... If you think about it, I was Director of Communications at the Football Association.
That doesn't make you a football writer.
But it made me a guest member of the Football Writers
Association.
So that was when you got in,
was it?
No.
Well, when did you join it?
When did I join it?
Yeah.
Well, it was in the 80s, so you don't have to worry about it, you know.
I'm not worried.
But anyway, the point is, how backward is it to say, if you're not a football writer, you can't be in the Football Writers Association?
Well, for example...
Well, we have radio, we have television, we have the internet, we have scribes who write, so it's a potpourri these days.
I mean, for example, I could join the Screen Actors Guild under your rules then, even though I'm not actually an actor.
No, because...
Why wouldn't I?
Yes, but I'm a journalist, and that's what the Football Writers Association is, a collection of journalists.
Is it?
Yes.
I've heard it called other things.
Well, Alan Green.
So, do you mean all the top guys will be at this thing, like
of course
John Cross?
Yeah, of course they will. Yeah, they're writers. Alan Green, a colleague of ours on the BBC, is a radio man, but he'll be there. Yeah, he's a friend of mine. Yeah, he's a friend of mine. Yeah, I like Alan a lot. He's a good lad.
Okay.
People.
You make Robbie Savage be there.
Robbie Savage will probably be there. He was there last time I went.
Okay.
People who work for
Darren Lewis, will he be there?
Darren?
Oh, he might be working here that night.
Well, he might be working here this night, or he might be working on TV. He's a
busy boy.
He's busy. He's what we...
He's always working.
What we call...
Well, he works... The only person that works harder than you.
Well,
I mean, you never stop working.
Does he still work for the Mirror, Darren?
I believe he does, but I don't know where he finds the time.
No, I don't know where he finds the time either.
Because he's always in here.
Yeah, he is, yeah.
Or Sky.
Or he's on Sky this morning, that's right, yeah. Or actually, I tell you what, old Johnny Cross the other day, he did a paper review for us on the show before ours. And but earlier in the day, or the following morning, I got him on BBC Radio 5 Live. So there's not much loyalty there.
Well, you used to do the same. You used to do a show here with me and then going off and see your mate Jeremy Vine.
Oh, but that's Radio 2. That's not a direct sort of competitor.
Oh, really?
Because there's music on that one.
Oh, I see.
See? So music shows don't count.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Have we got this verdict?
I've never understood that, by the way.
When's this? I've
just told me Porky's the winner.
Hey!
You can't have made you the winner.
Ho, ho, ho!
Unbelievable.
Yes.
He just said to me he threatened to take away his ticket.
Yeah, no, I didn't know, not at all.
See, this is when you know that your friends and your family are not really as supportive as they should be.
Why is that?
My daughter's trying to ring me now.
Yes. Why?
Well, I presume she wants to talk to me.
Well, does she know that you're actually working at the moment?
That's what I'm saying.
Oh, dear
She's
me.
obviously completely forgotten that I'm on the radio. Not only that I've forgotten I'm on the radio, but she's not listening either.
That's right. She doesn't usually get these things wrong either.
That's shocking.
Yeah, well, her head's
That's
been
awful.
turned. She's a big shot now in the city,
She's a big shot now. She's in TV. She doesn't care about little me working on the radio.
No, that's probably true.
Now, let me read you a couple of tweets that we've got here as well, because apparently the £100 note is still in existence in Scotland.
Oh, yeah?
And Ian has tweeted us a picture here for the Royal Bank of Scotland £100 note.
Wow.
So
very impressive.
You're quite right to say there aren't any in England.
Yes.
But that would presumably still be legal tender.
Yes.
Here's one from Marbles who says, was Porky reading the script to the Bee movie?
No. The Bee movie, I love that. Well done.
Here's one from Danny who says, remember you mentioned people doing Leo Sayers? He says he's just on one today in Liverpool.
Yes.
Absolute mass bladderation.
Absolutely mass bladderation, yes.
And lots of other people saying that they quite liked your 1 minute moan, bizarrely.
Thank you. Well,
I don't know why they did,
well,
though.
because it wasn't a rant. It was something I'm very concerned about. If you go to a garden centre and you buy a plant, like I do it for my mum sometimes. Take them back, she plants them in the garden, okay?
Yeah.
Now, if that plant is covered in pesticides and the bees come along into my mum's garden and they buzz around and then they die as a result of the pesticide on the plants, then something's got to be done about it. And, I'm only quoting from a report which said that
what do you propose people should do?
Garden centres, big-name garden centres, Carroney's one. Well, what I'm proposing to do is that they are made aware of it and that they change their delivery or their supply of plants so they don't, contain pesticides. We have a big bee problem in this country.
Yeah, we do.
We're losing
bees. Getting bigger.
No, but we're losing bees all over the place.
Yeah,
and in fact, funny enough...
Okay, that's enough about bees, all right? We've only got about 3 minutes left of the show.
Right.
Mind, I'm going to read you this from Chris instead.
Okay.
I reckon old MG's mission is getting away for a week to a monastery to regain his sanity after such a long stint with Porky.
Well, it could be.
That is true.
It could be.
Now, let's go back up to Dom McGuinness, who is at the Etihad. 66 minutes gone. Dom.
Yeah, it's still Manchester City 2, Leicester City 1. The home crowd getting very frustrated, as you can probably hear. There's some boos.
There you go, see. I mean, if they don't manage to get 3 points here, Manchester City, I mean, Arsenal are breathing down their neck.
Of course they are.
And that could be very interesting.
And Leicester have had a burst of energy at the end of the season. Now, Luxury Lizzie is one of our regular correspondents. She sent me a picture of something which says Clipper on it, but I'm not sure what it is.
Right.
But nevertheless, it's the message on the front. And she says this could obviously apply to you, Porky, It says, I'm not special, I'm just a limited edition.
Oh, right.
I think that's rather nice, that, don't you? Look at that, see?
It is quite nice,
see?
Yeah. It looks a bit like a cigarette.
No, it's not a cigarette, you fool. It's is it a cigarette lighter, maybe? I don't know, one of those little ones.
Clippers are cigarette lighters,
are they? Oh, well, it must be one of those.
Yeah.
Because I always love that
seen the time, by the way?
expression from Jose. I'm not saying I'm the best, but I'm in the top one. No, that's Brian Clough, sorry. Yeah. Brian Clough's favourite expression,
Would you like to stop now?
Yeah, I'll stop now. Yeah.
On DAB Digital Radio and 1089 and 1053 AM. The warm-up with the two mics on Talk Sport.